You're on.
You better turn that down too.
You're on live now. Start talking.
Good morning, just doing some limbering up exercises to make sure the lungs are working properly.
Okay, just move your fingers.
We've got a bit of stress going on here at the moment. Working properly. Things are in the wrong position. We've got women in charge of the show that are all stressed out. And we're just sitting back here, taking it easy. Limbering up. Whoop, 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 whoop. We've got phones going everywhere, people are calling, all the wrong noises. Tell me when there's some people here on start.
There's 4.
Come on, we need another 50 before I start.
Who is it? It's probably Alan telling us that we...
Okay,
You've got 4.
just doing the exercises. Get the lungs going. A few more exercises.
There's 5 on.
5. Let's go another 5.
They're saying they can't say 33.
Ask a question. There's people on. There's 8.
I'm just doing some exercises. Okay. Good morning, everybody, from the beautiful northern rivers in New South Wales. If you don't know where that is, it's just down the road from Byron Bay. Just give me a bit of an idea where you all come from this morning. See if anyone's in this area or overseas or whatever. And also, can you tell me what the temperature is? It's a beautiful 26 degrees here right now. And I'm in my winter uniform, which is t-shirt and shorts. So, how are the rest of you going?
They're saying they can't hear you.
You'll have to talk louder.
Anyway, I'll try and talk a bit louder. My name's Tony Rogers. I'm a young living oiler, and we might as well just start off now. So this morning I want to talk about prostate health for men. This is a very big subject for me because I just went through a pretty scary experience, and it's also been in my family. So I just thought it might be a good reason to try and get this out into the world, how important it is that we look after our prostate. As you'll see as we go through the slides, it's pretty important. So I just want to do a little disclaimer before I start so I don't get into any trouble. So all the information in this presentation has been researched by using various media and medical outlets, and related activities are personal experiences that have happened to me and my family over a period of time. If you are having problems with your prostate, just make sure you consult your doctor. Everyone hear me all right now? Yeah?
Yeah, I assume so.
Okay. Okay. Some of the decisions you may make after this presentation may give you a peace of mind, help you spend more time with your family and loved ones, allow you to control your prostate well-being, and it may also help you save your life. So what function does the prostate gland perform? The prostate is a gland found only in men. It sits in the groin behind the base of the penis inside the body. The main function of the prostate is to produce one of the major fluids that make up semen. Without that, we're not much good. Anything that causes swelling or enlargement to the prostate can affect the man's ability to pass urine because the urethra goes through the prostate gland. Trouble passing urine is one of the most common signs that there may be a problem with the prostate. Does anybody know anybody that has prostate problems? Anybody at all, family, friends, whatever. And ladies, even though you don't have a prostate, you need to watch for these symptoms from your man because he might keep it a secret. Us blokes are pretty good at saying she'll be right, it'll go away. We don't bother going to doctors until we fall off the perch, and then we go straight to the undertaker. But keep an eye on your bloke, and if you see any of these symptoms from him, give him a boot up the rear end and get him to go and get it checked. So some of the common symptoms of prostate disease are difficulty in passing urine, difficulty getting started or dribbling, frequent urination, and waking up during the night to urinate. So if your man's jumping out of bed 5 or 6 or 7 times a night to go to the toilet, it's time to tell him there's something wrong. You can have pain when you're ejaculating. You can have cloudy urine. You can have blood in the urine. Pain in your scrotum, penis, testicles or rectum. So if you have any of the above symptoms, it's really important you get to see your doctor. There are 3 main conditions that can affect your prostate. So you can have prostate enlargement, you can have prostatitis, inflammation of the prostate gland, and the real scary one is prostate cancer. And that's what made me decide to do this little talk this morning. So prostate enlargement and prostate cancer usually only affect men over the age of 50. Now that's usually, but anyone from 40 on, especially if they've got members in the family that have had prostate problems, they need to get checked yearly. So about half of the men over this age will have some sort of prostate enlargement.
They're saying prostate.
Prostate.
Not prostrate. You
Whatever.
get a lot of comments.
So they need to understand the Australian language. I'm a doer, not a scholar.
Linda said, hang on. Linda said, hang on. Heaps of men lay prostrate.
So prostatitis is caused by bacteria and can affect a man of any age. It is important for men, no matter what their age, to discuss prostate health with their wives and peers. If symptoms are found, talk to your doctor. Now when I say talk to your doctor, what I mean is go there and get your bloods done. Get a notice for the pathologist and go and get your bloods done. pH isn't usually life-threatening, that's prostate health, but some of its symptoms can have an impact on your life, although it can be uncomfortable at times. As you get older, the prostate grows larger. At puberty, your testosterone levels start to increase and the prostate grows to about 8 times its size. So it is normal for us all to have enlarged prostates. As we get older, that just becomes an automatic thing that happens to us men. So that in itself is not the problem. That's just a little thing that naturally happens. It continues to grow, doubling in size between the age of 21 and 50, and almost doubles again between the ages of 50 and 80. So, pretty interesting. What is prostate enlargement or benign prostatic hyperplasia? All you scholars, don't get into me again for that one. Benign prostatic hyperplasia, here, tells me how to say it here, hyperplasia is a non-cancerous enlargement or growth of the prostate gland. It's the most common prostate disease. What is prostatitis? If you've experienced pain and discomfort in and around your prostate, you might have prostatitis, as they say here.
Prostatitis.
Prostatitis is when the prostate becomes inflamed, which can make the prostate feel sore and irritated. Sometimes it's very painful and can have a huge effect on your quality of life. Often it can be treated, which is why it's a good idea to see your doctor if you see any problems. Once again, you just need to get your bloods done to have a bit of a look at what's going on there. So, what is prostate cancer? Now this is where it gets really scary, really scary. This is one of the worst things that is in the male society, and it seems to be getting worse every year. So prostate cancer begins when abnormal cells in the prostate start growing in an uncontrolled way. In most cases, prostate cancer grows more slowly than other types of cancer. This might mean that you do not need treatment straight away. So in some people, prostate cancer can actually be there for years and years and years, and you know, you don't even ever have to do anything about it. Especially in older men, you can actually die of other things before prostate gets you. But if you're around my age, around 30, 35, young and fit, just going on 40, you need to be watching this, because it's in the younger people that start getting these things early that have all the problems. However, some prostate cancers can grow and spread quickly, so it's important to investigate any symptoms or unusual test results promptly. Early or localised prostate cancer means cancer cells have grown, but as far as it is possible to tell, have not spread beyond the prostate. There are two stages of advanced prostate cancer. One, if the cancer grows and spreads outside the prostate gland into the seminal vesicles, glands that lie close to the prostate, or nearby parts of the body such as the bladder or rectum, it is called locally advanced prostate cancer. Still have a chance at that time. This is the bad one. Metastatic prostate cancer is when the cancer has spread to distant parts of the body such as the lymph glands or bones. So once you get to this stage, you're in one big lot of trouble. I think you need to go straight to Ecuador, first plane out. That's if the borders are still open. So who gets prostate cancer? Does anyone out there know anybody that's got prostate cancer? Just let me know. Whether that be a family member or a friend, there could be two different scenarios here. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer in Australian men, apart from the normal common skin cancers, but it's also taken that over now. There are about 18,000 new cases in Australia every year. Like, you know, you see what's going on right now in this world, that's pretty bad compared to, you know, how the government's treating the current problem. 1 in 6 men in Australia are at risk of developing prostate cancer by the age of 85. 1 in 6 men. So when we were up at that conference the other week, there were, I think Al said, 900 people there. So, you know, about 150 of them are candidates for prostate cancer. That's pretty scary when you put it in a room like that and look at the numbers. The risk of prostate cancer increases with age. It is uncommon in men younger than 50, although the risk is higher for younger men with a strong family history. So if you've got it in your family, the likelihood of you getting it is 50% more. 50% more. Get that into your head. And that also includes if they've had breast cancer or ovarian cancer in the family. So those 3 cancers will give you a 50% more chance of getting this horrible disease. So you need to look at your family history to see where you sit on that graph of time. Estimated number of new cases of prostate cancer diagnosed in 2019, 19,508 males. 19,508 males. The estimated percentage of all new male cancer cases diagnosed in 2019, 25% were for prostate cancer. 25%. That's a quarter of all cancers. Estimated number of deaths from prostate cancer in 2019, 3,306 males. So, you divide the number of states in this beautiful country of ours into that and see how it comes out compared to our present problem. Pretty bad, pretty serious. The estimated percentage of all male deaths from cancer in 2019, 12% were prostate. Chances of surviving at least 5 years, this is between 2011 and 2015, is 95%. So it is something that can be treatable. So in very good cases that are found early on in your life, if you get onto it early, it can come up with a pretty good result. But if you don't, it's a terrible result. Males living with prostate cancer at the end of 2014, diagnosed in the 5-year period 2010 to 2014, 90,354. Man, that's incredible, isn't it? New cases. In 2015, prostate was the most commonly diagnosed cancer in Australia, and also the most commonly diagnosed cancer among males. Pretty scary. It is estimated to become the second most commonly diagnosed cancer in 2019, while remaining the most commonly diagnosed cancer among males. Look out, better get onto it. In 2015, there were 18,878 new cases of prostate cancer diagnosed in Australia. In 2019, it is estimated that 19,508 new cases of prostate cancer will be diagnosed in Australia in 2019. It is estimated that the risk of a male being diagnosed with prostate cancer by his 85th birthday will be 1 in 6. Got that? 1 in 6, all you mathematicians out there. So here we have a little graph of all the different cancers that we seem to suffer from here in Australia, and guess who's number one? Have a look at that graph. The browny yellow one there on the left hand side is prostate cancer, so it's far and away above the rest. So it's up near 20,000 cases. Okay, this is where the sad part starts. This is my story. This is the reason I wanted to do this. And it all started with my dad. He was a very fit man, probably 95 kgs. He was a great leader of men. He ran many community organisations and sports clubs in the local town that he lived in, which was Oberon in New South Wales. He was travelling along really, really well. Worked hard all his life. Saved his money. There wasn't any super back then, so they used to put, you know, a couple of bob away every week, they used to call it then, I suppose, into the little bank accounts and try and make a little bit of interest that way, so they had something to spend at the end of their work life. So Dad retired when he was 65, and straight away we found out about all these little bank accounts that he'd put aside, because what he was going to do with that was give it to his kids to start a life. So we all got together when we found out, and we said to Mum and Dad, we said, look, we don't want any of your money. We're just going to do our own thing. We want you guys to go and have a good time. So over the years, Mum and Dad had been overseas plenty of times on little short holidays at the end of every year, and they had a passion for travelling. And I know Mum really wanted to go over to Egypt just to see, because she was a Roman Catholic Christian person. She wanted to go and see all of the places that were talked about in the Bible. So anyway, when we had a talk to them, they then decided they would go on a 6-month European tour. So that's what they did. They went to all the places Mum wanted to see and all the places Dad wanted to see. They went to, you know, to England and Wales and Scotland and looked up all the heritage of the family and all that stuff and had a really good time. It was probably about 6 months after Dad got home, he found out that he had a problem, and that problem was going to the toilet too much of a night time. So being a doctor person as he was, and his best mate in Oberon was the local doctor, Dad went and had himself checked out. He was 67 at this time. Anyway, he was diagnosed after all the pathology reports and everything else with prostate cancer. So once again, being Dad, he did exactly what the doctors told him. And I might add, at this time, Dad's brother also went and got himself checked and found he had prostate cancer as well. So when he talked to his doctor, he was also a mad sportsman. They were both great tennis players in their time. He decided to take a different option to what Dad did. So he decided to take a treatment of steroids, which were injected into his prostate every month for the rest of his life. Dad decided to have the prostate operation, and I spoke to him 2 days after the operation. He was in high spirits because the doctors had told him that you know, they'd got all the cells out, everything was going to be fine. So then he had radiation after that, and at 6-month period he was cleared, 100%. They told him 100% it was gone, go and live your life again. So that didn't happen. Probably must have been about 18 months later. They were on holiday in Perth, and Dad went to get up one morning from the lounge. He'd been sitting there watching TV, watching the sport report, which he used to do every day, and his hip seized up. So Dad thought, well, the best thing to do is get back to see his mate, the doctor, back at Oberon. So they jumped on a plane as soon as they could and flew back to Oberon. So once again he was diagnosed as having cancer, and this time it was the mastitis, and it spread from there right into his bones. So now he had cancer in his bones. And during one of my regular yearly checkups, I actually asked the doctor I said, what's the prognosis for somebody with cancer in their bones? And at the time she said maximum 5 years. Well, Dad didn't last that long. He just got to go one forward here. Yeah, go one back. So yeah, Dad didn't last that long. He got sicker and sicker, and him and Mum eventually decided to move down to our place at Empire Bay on the Central Coast so that Dad could spend time with our 2 young daughters who were, well, there was only one there at that time. The other one wasn't born. So Tally was there. She was about 5 years old. So thank heavens Dad got to spend some time with her, even though he was very sick. And it was for me really, really sad watching this man sick every day. He got to a stage where he lost all his functions. Mum virtually had to carry him around, and I still remember the last day Mum rang us up and we went around there, Jenny and I, and yeah, he couldn't even get up off the bed. He was just sitting there. So we took him to hospital, and no sooner got home we got a phone call to say it was all over. So Dad died at 72, and he went from 95 kilos down to about 40 kilos. So that's pretty sad, and we should be all thinking about those things, because it can happen to any one of us if we don't get onto this problem. It's a big problem. It's, 1 in 6 of us is going to cop it, so you've got to use whatever ammunition you can get to try and keep it away. So what did I do? I was determined from that moment on to do what I could to prevent myself from having the same problem. So from that year, I think at that time I was 45, was I? 45?
When your dad died?
Yeah.
Well, Tally was 2, so that was 1995. Your
42.
Dad died, yeah, 1995.
Anyway, I was in the early 40s, so this is another reason I think is important that you get onto it early. So from that point on, every year I had a medical. I tried to watch my weight. When I used to get too fat, I'd go and lose it all. There's plenty of ways to do that, and I'll talk about that another time. And it's easy. I exercised a lot more, even though all my life, like I played football and stuff myself, I was always into weights and I was always pretty fit that way. I decided to exercise more, and I just decided in my own mind that I try and chill out a lot more and just try not get any stress, and that's probably why Jenny thinks I'm the Iceman a lot of the time, because I just block it all away. I don't get stressed too much like most people, so I'm happy to be the Iceman as long as it makes me healthy. Okay, so from then on we were living a pretty good life. We started our own business, moved up to the Hunter Valley. We had another child, Coco. Everything was going good, and I was still trying to keep fit. And in 2005, a company came along through Alan called Young Living. So Jenny and I joined. So in 2005 we joined. I watched my wife use the oils and thought, yeah, she smells good. And I never used them because I thought I was too tough and too macho to use them. So I just let her use them and spend lots of money on them, which didn't worry me. We were in a pretty good place at that time. Anyway, reluctantly, due to bad knees that I picked up from football and other sporting activities that I'd taken part in, and probably a little bit of unhealthy living as well, too much acid in my body, I decided to try some sulfazyme and BLM, and that seemed to work really well. I mean, my knees were shot at that stage. There was bone on bone, and the only real exercise I could do at that time was ride road bikes. So I used to ride my bike to work and all sorts of silly things. I'd do 20, 40, 50, 60 Ks in a ride, you know, and wouldn't think twice about it. But I was pretty fit. I was also drinking a lot of water, obviously, when I was doing that, because I was sweating a lot. So I think Jenny mentioned to me one day, she said, why don't you put some peppermint oil in it? So I did, and it was pretty hot to drink like that. So I thought I might add a bit of lemon oil to it as well. Anyway, that tasted really good. Eventually I knew I was going to have both knees replaced, and to me that was scary. So I was prepared to try every single avenue there was to stop that from happening. I tried all sorts of stuff. I had my knees injected with stem cells, which were sucked out of my fat stomach at the time and made into stem cells and put back into my body. That worked for a little while, but I would have to say and the BLM kept me going. So I was too scared to go and actually have an operation at that time. So then, wow, I got some amazing news. At this time I was checking the prostate supplement market, looking for a product that might help me sustain my body over the long term, and you know, help with any prostate problems that might come along. At this time I was still clear, even though my cousin had experienced them at age 50, and I was sort of getting a bit scary again, because I'm thinking, this is in the family, I need to find something to help me through these times. Bingo, Prostate Health arrived in Australia, and I've got to tell you something, that's the best thing that's ever happened. I was 57 at the time, from 2010 to 2018, I took the recommended dose of 1 a day. I continued my yearly medical checks for the next 8 years. Never had any problems. Initially, the test was a finger up the dinger to feel the prostate. Not a real good experience. And then a blood test
You
came
enjoyed
out,
it.
which was called a PSA. Actually, the old doctor used to put the gloves on his hand and he'd say, "Which one do you want?" Anyway, PSA test came out, and that's prostatic specific antigen test, and that's what we all seem to have these days. So it's a protein made by both normal prostate cells and cancerous prostate cells. So what they do is they measure the cells there, and if they're high, well, they start looking at other avenues. So in 2019, my yearly test come up. I'm a truck driver, so I have to have a 2 yearly test to drive a road trade, B double, and I've got to have a 2 yearly test for holding a bus licence. So funnily enough, they come about every year. So every year I've had to have a medical test anyway, which is a good thing. So in 2019, my usual doc wasn't available, so I used a different one, and this was interesting. I attended the surgery to get a referral for my yearly blood test for the pathologist, as I do, and while I'm there, I've had all the other stuff checked. Anyway, from that test, there were 3 words: alarm, alarm, alarm. So what I want to do now is just recreate that scene and see what happens. So I've invited Dr. Doolittle in here to help me, or Dr. Do Nothing, or Dr. Do whatever. So this is my wife Jenny. So she's come in here to recreate this scene so you can actually see what happened. So the first thing was, after this test, it goes back to the doctor. So I had a call from the medical centre requesting I attend to see the doctor. So I've had this before. It could have been for too much sugar or too much cholesterol, but I've always sort of been able to control them in other ways. So I goes in. Good morning, Dr. Doolittle. Do much, do nothing.
So rude. I just called you in to discuss your cholesterol levels, but when I looked at your blood levels, I noticed that your PSA levels has risen steadily over the last 3 years.
What do you mean? I mean, none of the other doctors have ever told me any of that stuff. They've always told me it's been really good, that my bloods aren't even worth looking at. I'm that healthy.
I think it's because the PSA is rising steadily. We need to keep an eye on it. At the moment, it is 3.6. Normal is 3.5. Over 4% could get dangerous. We will check it again in 4 months.
Okay, so I've heard that the PSA isn't always accurate. How accurate is the PSA test?
It's not always accurate, but because your situation is over a period of time and readings have increased, we need to flag it.
So what's the point of having it if it's not accurate? I mean, you know. Anyway, I suppose that's all they've got. So I'm pretty stunned with that. I've been so good with all these tests all the time, and I've really tried really hard to stay away from this problem. So I just thought I was going so well.
So, well, I think we will need to do a finger up the dinger. You excited?
Oh yeah, I'm not excited with that big blue glove. The fingers are too big.
You said you normally like that, Mandy.
So then, let's do it.
Bend over.
So what was the prostate like?
Well, after having a little bit of a feel, I found that it was a bit swollen, you know, but nothing to worry about. The trouble with this test is I can only feel the back of the gland, and most of the times the cancer is at the front.
So the old finger up the ding is not accurate either. So what do we do from here?
Well, now that that's done, we'll have to do an MRI scan, and they use to establish whether a biopsy is required.
So that's what they do if my level stays up where it is. Okay. Well, I don't think we're going to have a crack at that. I'm not into I'm not into MRI scans too much.
Well, I'll give you a pathology request for a blood test in 4 months. I can also give you access to a new drug to lower your cholesterol.
Very interesting. But no thanks, Doc. I don't do prescription drugs. I think I will. I've had a few medical alerts before. Probably not as bad as this, but other ones. And I've always tried to put a plan in place using essential oils. So what I'll do, I'll come up with a plan and try and remedy this problem and see what happens.
Well, good luck with that. If it works, maybe we can share it with other patients.
Yeah, okay. So, from that little meeting with the doctor, which I've got to tell you, scared the crap out of me, because straight away I'm thinking, oh no, I'm heading down the same path as Dad. So I rang up somebody that's pretty well up there in the Oiler Association, somebody I know pretty good, and discussed with him what he thought I should do to try and get this down. So first thing he said, well, let's try with the prostate. This is the Prostate Health. Let's up your dose. So we'll go from, at that stage I was on 2 a day, 1 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. He said, let's try 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. So that's what I did. And then he said, we just get yourself some of those little plastic capsules that you make up yourself, and we'll put 7 drops of copiaba in it and 7 drops of lemongrass. So that's what I did, and what I then decided to do was add a couple of other supplements to that. So I take 2 tablets of inner defence, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, and I also have 4 omega Jis, 2 in the morning, 2 at night. So I added them to it as well, and off I went. So I did that for the next 4 months. So what happened in the next 4 months? The next 4 months caused me to have many thoughtful moments. I mean, when something like this happens to you, I can imagine what it was like for people that got prickle needles and stuff and had to wait 6 months to get that final age checked. So there were many what ifs in my mind. You know, things like, what if my PSA reading increases? What do I do if I have a positive result? What if I have cancer? Like, these are the things that run through your mind when you've got this on your shoulders. What type of treatment would I choose? Would I go to Ecuador for treatment? What are my chances of survival? What will I tell my family? What about life? I have so many more things to enjoy and do. I've just bought a new motorhome. I want to enjoy life. I want to travel around, have a look at the place. Time went on so slowly, so slowly. When you have been diagnosed with a potentially deadly problem, it's really, really scary. It really is. And Jenny probably even doesn't know this was going on with all that stuff pretty well. Every day went by slowly. Thank heavens there was a holiday and Christmas to keep my mind off it. So that was 2 weeks away that I just forgot about it altogether. So what will the result be? How will I cope with the report? Am I going to die? This is getting worse and worse as time goes on. The last 2 weeks before the next blood test were the worst. They were so bad. Then it comes up to 2 days before the test. And I remember this so well. I was just scared to death. I'm sitting there every hour of the day thinking, man, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do this? I've got to get it done. So finally I gathered the strength to do it. I'll go in and see the doc, get me pathologist request, and off I go. And that was on a Wednesday, and it usually takes 3 or 4 days, so I had to wait till Monday for the result. So first thing Monday, as soon as the doctor opens, I ring for an appointment. The receptionist tells me the doctor wants to see me. Wow, I'm stressed to the max. As scared as I've ever been. The receptionist tells me the doctor's booked out to the following week. What will I do? I'm really, really scared, and this particular receptionist said that doctor's surgery I don't like, so I thought, I'll try and get around this one. So I kept ringing until I found a different receptionist. I explained how terrified I was. My family's sitting here laughing at me, they're thinking this is bullshit, but it's true. I explained how terrified I was, so she put me straight in that arvo. She was really, really nice. So let's go through this scenario with the doctor again. I'll just show you what happened. Here's me, I'm sweating in the waiting room, I'm so scared. Every doctor's door that opens, I'm looking for this bloke to come in so I can grab him. Okay, good afternoon,
Good
Doc.
afternoon.
Dr. Dumore.
Tony do a lot. I have some good news and I have some bad news.
Whoa, really?
Really.
Well, give me the good news first. Give me the bad news first.
Your sugar level is a bit high, but what would you expect after 4 months of stress?
That's exactly right. I've been stressed to the max for 4 months. So this is where it gets really, really exciting. So what's the bad news?
The good news. We just gave you the bad news.
Okay.
Now we're at the good news. I can see you're
Good
very nervous, so you don't know what the good news
That's
is.
it.
I have never seen this happen before. Your PSA readings and your cholesterol reading has dropped dramatically. Usually in this situation the readings go up.
Really? Really?
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
it just goes to show what you can do with Young Living essential oils. I put a plan in place to use them, and this is just amazing.
Well, I'm amazed. Just keep doing whatever you're doing and I'll see you in 12 months.
I'm so happy. I am so happy. I bounced out of the doctor's surgery. I really, really bounced out of the doctor's surgery. So, just here in front of me now, I've got a couple of reports here from the doctor that I just want to show you to prove this is true. And if you look here, you can see it's got 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20, and it's got my PSA levels along there. Now 1.80, that would have been, that's what it was for a lot of years. That's way down there with the youngest of people. So I've got 1.80 2016, 2017 it's gone up to 1.9, and then we had a really big drop. And maybe what should have happened here was the doctor should have said, okay, this is where we need to start taking notice, but they didn't. So that's 2018. 2019, like I said, this is when I changed from that doc to this new doc, and he's told me that it's gone up to 3.6. So if you look at your age groups down here, you've got minus 50, it should be 2.5, minus 60, 3.5, minus 70 is 4.5, and above 70 up to 6.5. But all the doctors that I've spoken to and any research I've said, they said that if you get over 4.5, you could be in trouble. So that's 4.5 is, it seems to be, is where the cancer starts to form. So that's pretty good proof of what happened to me. You can see here, this is 24th 10 2019, so I had the 4 months, it was 3.6 from the 4th to the 3rd 20, so that was a 4 month period, and it's gone from 3.6 down to 3.1. Man, that is just so amazing. That is unreal. So I'll just show you another one here. He also told me that my cholesterol was up, and I thought, what's this got to do with it? But once again, we have 3 readings, 18, 19 and 20. So you can see of 6.2 here, 6.1 there. That was, once again, 4 months later, I've gone down to 5.1. That's a whole 1. That's just unbelievable. So that's happened from using the same plants. And I also used another product to help me there called niacin, which makes you have a flush. Gets all the bad stuff out of you. So that's just amazing news to me. And here it is in black and white. I'm not fibbing. It's there. Now right here is the main problem. This prostate health. I mean, everyone over 40 should be on this stuff. This is just one of the most amazing products that has ever been brought out by this wonderful company. So get that, all you men, get that photo in your mind. You need to have it. You need to have it in your kit. So what does this mean to me now? Like me, and I'm a seeing is believing person. There's no more accurate evidence. I don't listen to anything that other people tell me, as my wife will attest to.
Even your wife.
I've got to see it. It's got to be right there in front of me. Even with what's going on, I've got it. There's so many conspiracies going around. I've got to have it in front of me so I can see it. So I'm a seeing this believing person, and that's exactly what happened there. There's no more accurate evidence. Young living oils are the best on this planet, I can tell you. I'm living proof of the power of these oils. I reckon the young living oils have potentially saved my life. If I didn't try that plan, which I discussed with one of the leaders of Young Living, that we all know very well, I could have been in a lot of trouble because I wouldn't have known what to do. So some of the things you should do, I reckon, I've always found, you know, if you've got any problems, just use the members in Young Living for product knowledge. Like there's so many of us out there. There's so many situations we've been in. It's so important that you talk to these people that have seen things happen in their lives. Use your team blogs to discuss oils others have used for treating problems, and read their outcomes to monitor the success of the oils. So remember, someone in this great organisation will always have an answer. Just ask. Just don't be a victim. Be a winner. Get on top of yourself. So just summing up, all men over 40 are subject to prostate health problems. Don't be a she'll be right man. I've been one of them all my life. Once you get a scare, I'm guaranteeing you'll go out of the way. Look out for symptoms that may show prostate problems. Have your blood done once a year. It could save your life. Really, really important. That's the most important thing. Have your blood done once a year. It costs you nothing. Just remember, only detection will give you time to fix the problem. If you're worried about anything, discuss it with a doctor. Remember, there are many ways to treat medical conditions. Just trust your gut feeling. Go with it. Just finish off, I'm so excited. I mean, I always sort of sat behind Jenny and watched her go down a little merry way with these oils, but I've changed so much lately.
My merry way.
After listening to some of the speakers at the convention and seeing some amazing things happen right before my eyes in that atmosphere, my whole attitude has changed towards this business. This is an amazing business. Also, following that amazing weekend was the positive results detained after this 4-month scare. I mean, how good does life get? I was the victim. I've shared the results with you. It's now up to you to, all you girls out there, make sure your men get tested. It will save their lives. I'm absolutely amazed and blown away by the power of these Young Living oils. From seed to soil certification, there's no other company that can match the purity and goodness that oozes from the Young Living products. So, you know, get onto this, get your blokes onto it. It's so important that we all look after our prostates. Just remember, 1 in 6 people are not going to live through their life because of this. So get onto it. If there's any questions come up on the phone, I'll answer them after this because I haven't been able to see it. So thank you very much. Good morning. Have a great day. Bye.